I guess today was the first time I had an Arkfeld Ultra and an Arkfeld Pro by me at the same time. And I really started looking at them and I'm like, wait, are these the same thing? Are these just the same thing in a slightly different material? They both have the same strength, UV emitter and laser. Get an extra 100 lumens with the Ultra 1400 max and then 1300 max on the Pro. But other than that, I'm like, and is that even noticeable is my next question, which we're going to take these outside to see if we can tell a noticeable difference. Other than that, I'm looking at them, I'm like, they have the same 1500 milliamp hour lithium polymer battery. Clip setup's pretty much the same. The base is the same. The milling is different. So you got some stylistic changes on the face here, the front. This one's more just smooth and rounded, and then you got a little bit more angular type cuts here. But for the most part, I mean, I'm thinking to myself, are these basically the same flashlight? Everything seemed to look just the same to me. And I've determined, at least I think for right now, that basically yes. Now I heard the lens on this is glass on the Ultra, and then plastic on the Pro. I cannot tell based on anything I can test for, which one's which, or are they the same or not. But I'm going to take their word for it. I heard another channel mention that it's glass on this and plastic on this, so I have no reason to believe that's not true. And that might explain why we're able to get more lumen output out of this, so there's no fear of melting plastic. But in any case, let's get these outside and see if we can tell any difference in output, practically speaking. So for these beam shots, the exposure is going to be locked the whole time, so the camera won't auto-adjust the brightness. And I found a location where we can kind of get an idea of the flood and the throw just a little bit. If you look directly through the kind of two trees on the side, there's a tree off in the distance. So kind of get an idea of how much light gets on that, and then how much light surrounds, the more up close field of view. So yeah, I'm going to see, if I can tell any difference, practically speaking, myself as I ramp up and down, particularly on turbo is what I'm interested in, just to see if we do get that bonus 100 lumens, which we might, but it's pretty hard for me to tell. I'm going to pause the screen on turbo each. This one's the Arkfeld Pro, and this one is the Arkfeld Ultra. Hard to say, really. If there is a difference, it's not substantial. All right, so I just got to be honest, I really couldn't tell a difference. Practically speaking, just by holding the lights and looking, I couldn't notice any change. I don't doubt that the lumen output is actually higher with this. I have no reason to believe that it wouldn't be, but I'm just saying, practically speaking, I didn't notice a difference. So with that said, I mean, where does that really leave us with these two? OAL is extremely cool. I gotta say that. I took 80 grit sandpaper to the first OAL product I got to see just how fast or how hard it would be to get through the color and into the kind of raw aluminum underneath. And it actually took quite a bit of grinding, much more than I was expecting with 80 grit sandpaper, which is very, very gritty. This stuff is really cool, and its strength as compared to titanium, for example, is very impressive. So you kind of do get, the value is kind of just in the material itself, as far as I can tell, because everything else seems to be about equal to me anyway. So OAL is kind of what you're getting with the Ultra, the major benefit, and then maybe the glass lens as well. I'm not sure, 100% sure about that lens, but I think that's correct. I think this has glass lens and this has plastic over here on the Pro. But in any case, that's all I'm trying to say. I think these are basically the same otherwise. Yeah, little aesthetic differences like the battery symbols and, the cuts like we talked about before. But other than that, same UV, same green laser. White light is virtually the same, at least to my eye. Same battery, 1500 milliamp hour built-in lithium polymer battery in each. So yeah, I hope that this video helps you just kind of think about some things. Personally, I'm gonna be really honest with you guys, and I think, I do like this about Olight. They sent these as samples for the channel to review, but they don't tell me I have to be positive in my assessments, and I've been pretty consistent since the day I got it. At the very first Arkfeld video I got back in like the OG Arkfeld days, I mentioned I did not like the built-in batteries. I stand by that to this day. I don't like the built-in batteries of these. I would not purchase either one of these flashlights. I'm gonna be real with you. I would go for something from the Warrior line from Olight or the Baton line. Yes, they have a cylindrical body, not as flat, not as low profile in pocket, but I like the ability to swap out the battery at a later point in time if you need to or if you want to. I would love to see OAL using a flashlight like that. Like in the Warrior 2 Mini, for example, that would be pretty awesome. Or something like a Baton. That would be really neat. I would go for that in a heartbeat. But let me know what you think about that or about any of these two lights. Now, I also don't want to knock these too hard. People have, there's some pretty crazy stories of like how these get left in machinery or dropped or drowned or whatever else, and they still, like in oil, for example, or anything else like that, they hold up very well. So the durability's here on these. But yeah, I mean, for the price, I would much rather pay for, like I said, something from the Warrior line or the Baton line. I really like the Warrior 3 Mini a lot. Don't have much experience with the Baton series still, but I do really like those as well for a more floody beam. But in any case, that's my end of my ramblings, end of my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for checking out the Arkfeld Ultra versus Arkfeld Pro discussion. Have a good rest of your day, and God bless you. Take care. Bye.